It was a chilly Friday night in Flagstaff, Arizona, when 19-year-old Sarah received a last-minute call for a babysitting job. The family lived in a quaint little house at the edge of town, surrounded by towering pines that swayed gently in the cool night breeze. Sarah, always eager to earn some extra cash for her college tuition, accepted the job without hesitation. It's just a few hours, she thought to herself. What could possibly go wrong? When she arrived at the house, she was greeted by the parents, who seemed slightly frazzled but appreciative of her help. They explained that their baby, a sweet girl named Emily, would likely be asleep for most of the night. After a quick tour of the house, they handed Sarah a baby monitor and reminded her to call if she needed anything. With that, they left, and she settled into the cozy living room, ready to binge-watch her favorite show while keeping an eye on the monitor. As the clock ticked towards 3 a.m., the house was engulfed in silence. The only sound was the faint hum of the heater and the occasional creak of the old house settling. Sarah felt a sense of calm wash over her. After all, babysitting was usually a straightforward gig. But as she glanced over at the baby monitor, a flicker of unease crept in. Emily stirred slightly, but she quickly settled back into a peaceful slumber. Sarah returned to her show, trying to shake the growing feeling that something was off. Just as Sarah began to relax, the baby monitor crackled to life. Emily let out a soft whimper, and Sarah felt her heart race. She paused her show and grabbed the monitor, glancing at the bedroom door. As she tiptoed toward the nursery, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was being watched. She opened the door slowly, peering inside to find Emily peacefully sleeping in her crib. But as Sarah stepped inside, her eyes caught something unusual taped beneath the crib. Curiosity piqued, she bent down to read the note. Her heart dropped as she scanned the words, "If she wakes up, draw the circle. Do not open the door." Below the note was a crude drawing of a pentagram, the lines messy and uneven, as if drawn by hand in a hurry. A chill ran down her spine, and she felt a shiver of dread. What kind of babysitting job was this? Sarah hesitated, torn between the instinct to follow the instructions and the overwhelming urge to flee. The note could be a prank, she reasoned, but the ominous feeling in the air was hard to ignore. Just then, Emily let out another cry, this time louder and more insistent. The note echoed in her mind, and her heart raced as she took a deep breath. Ignoring the note, Sarah rushed to the crib and picked up the baby, cradling her in her arms. "It's okay, sweet girl," she cooed, trying to calm Emily. The baby's cries subsided, but as Sarah rocked her gently, the scratching sound began. It started faintly at first, like fingernails scraping against wood. She froze, her breath hitching in her throat. The sound seemed to come from the walls, a rhythmic scratching that grew louder with each passing second. Panic surged through her. She glanced around the room, searching for the source of the noise. The scratching intensified, echoing in the corners of the nursery, making it feel as if the walls were closing in on her. Sarah's mind raced as she considered the note again. What if it was true? What if something was trying to get in? The note had warned her not to open the door, but she was terrified of what was happening around her. With Emily still in her arms, she backed away from the crib, instinctively moving toward the door. The scratching grew more frantic, and she could almost hear a voice whispering her name from behind the walls. "Sarah," it beckoned softly, laced with an unsettling charm. She pressed her back against the door, heart pounding, and tried to calm her racing thoughts. She could not let fear control her. Desperate to escape the suffocating atmosphere, Sarah decided to take action. She remembered the note's instructions about drawing the circle. If there was any chance it could protect them, she had to try. She placed Emily back in the crib, her tiny body still and peaceful, and quickly grabbed a pen from the desk. Her hands trembled as she sketched the crude pentagram on the floor, following the lines as best as she could, her heart racing with each stroke. As she finished the drawing, the scratching suddenly stopped. Silence enveloped the room, leaving Sarah breathless. She stood in the center of the pentagram, clutching the pen tightly, unsure of what would happen next. The air felt thick, charged with an unseen energy. She glanced at Emily, who was still asleep, and then at the door, half expecting it to burst open at any moment. But instead, a profound stillness settled over the room. Just as she began to feel a glimmer of hope, she noticed a shadow moving just outside the nursery door, the outline of a figure creeping closer. The door rattled slightly, as if something was testing the barrier between them. Sarah's heart raced, she felt the urge to flee, to open the door and escape, but the warning echoed in her mind, "Do not open the door." In that moment of terror, she made her choice. She remained inside the pentagram, clutching Emily close to her chest, whispering calming words to the baby as the scratching resumed, now accompanied by low, guttural growls. The figure outside the door pressed harder against it, and Sarah felt the pentagram vibrate beneath her feet. Just when it seemed the door would burst open, the growls turned into anguished screams, and the shadows receded. The air grew still once again, almost serene. Sarah held her breath, waiting for what felt like an eternity. Finally, the whispers faded, and all that remained was silence. As dawn broke, the sunlight poured through the window, illuminating the nursery. The nightmare had ended, but the experience had changed Sarah forever. She realized that she had stumbled into something beyond her understanding, a dark ritual that had sought to claim her and the innocent child in her care. With trembling hands, she gathered her things, ready to leave the house and never return. As she stepped outside, she felt the weight of the night lift from her shoulders, but the memory of the experience would haunt her for years to come. The note, the scratching, the figure, it all felt like a dark dream. Yet she knew it was all too real, a reminder that sometimes the darkest corners of existence lie hidden in the most innocent of places.